Hello everybody, my name is Paul Jeffrey and today I am delighted to be joined by Sim Formula Europe 2020 winner, Mr. Risto Kappet. Risto, great to have you with us, and how are you today?
Hello everybody. I'm healthy. I'm alive. I'm doing the things I've always done, and I'm keeping progressing and keeping racing. So I guess I'm happy. I'm perfect.
Now Risto, for the benefit of those at home, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your experience in the world of sim racing.
So yeah, my name you probably can see on the title, but yeah. So basically, what I do now, I started from the present and go back to the past. What I do now, I'm a sim racing driver for Roman Grosjean Esports team. So yeah, I'm being managed by a real Formula One driver, and basically what I do is for the last 2 or 1 year, I've been trying to do sim racing full time. So I try to earn my living from sim racing, well, it's mostly prizes, but also some sponsor deals or from the team. So yeah, I try to put all my focus on sim racing. I don't really work normal jobs anymore, and yeah, I try to push and make enough sacrifices to make it big time, to hit the jackpot sooner or later. And I love this daily routine I do anyway. So yeah, I do the bigger esports events, all the big esports events I see in sim racing in Air Factor 2 mainly. And yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And before that, let's say I've been sim racing with proper wheels and pedals for like 10 years in online leagues, but most of that time has been just like semi-casual in also teams that are proper racing teams. But only basically this year I've been in a team. Okay, let's say for a year and a half I've been a team which can actually sponsor you, and only in the last few years I've been the esports event so big that you can actually live off it. So yeah, about my sim racing, basically until 2 years ago it was quite anonymous and not so exciting.
Fantastic stuff. Now, the world is a very different place than what it was when we last met at the beginning of the year for Sim Formula 2020. What have you been up to in these last few months, and how has it affected you and your racing?
Yeah, I'm healthy. I'm young, so personally I have no problems. No, I've always been healthy and careful. And yeah, where I live, it's not a big problem either. We haven't been in complete lockdown ever. There have been some social distancing rules, but it's not like in Central Europe or somewhere where you get fined for leaving the house. So actually, my life probably hasn't changed much. I still, especially considering what I do is behind the computer mostly, so it's the same. I still go out and I still work out, but it doesn't matter much. But yeah, regarding sim racing itself, this Corona period has been quite crazy. Basically, after sim formula, when came February, March, April, uh, that period for sim racing was amazing because the the real racing stopped. So all the real drivers, the real racing attention focused immediately on the sim racing. So we had some awesome new events organized by the race, and also many other events kicked off because there was so much attention, and you could put much more, let's say, sponsor money and things into the circulation. So it really, all this attention progressed the sim racing scene a lot. And of course, it culminated with that, you could say, the real 24 hours of Le Mans that we ran in the simulator in Air Factor 2. So yeah, those 2 or 3 months were absolutely crazy good. But let's say now it's been dragging on for so long that I would say it's kind of depleted. Okay, the progress made in the simulators, it has stayed. So let's say Air Factor 2 has now this year several official competitions, the GT competition, and there are some others. So let's say the minimum amount of esports competitions that people like me can compete in and make some prizes, that is still rising. But then again, all the real LAN events, like the upcoming Sim Formula event, and also there's this BMW Sim Live and few others that were supposed to happen on site, like LAN events, they have also not taken place and probably won't take place for a while. So in that sense, the euphoria is now fading away, because eventually, if the world is in lockdown and if the real racing world is in lockdown forever and we can't go on site to make the big competitions work, which also excites the sponsors the most, and it's then the exponential growth is stopping. But still, what has happened this very quick and exciting period of Corona early this year, that was amazing, and I'm happy with that. So no negatives from me.
Speaking of Sim Formula 2020, you won it last time out. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences and how you went on to take the victory?
Yeah, so from the outset, of course, this preceding the LAN event, there was quite a long qualification period, but I took it very seriously from the beginning. I have like this, the very first big esports event in R Factor 2, let's say, was the Formula E Las Vegas race. And it was something where I was around the qualification, but I didn't take it seriously, so I didn't get in. And ever since, I have I have this special energy that, okay, we have these daily leagues that we do, but I don't get like the big buzz from it. But when we get big events like Sim Formula, which you can like qualify into and then go to the LAN, then I try. And that was that event where I decided that I will try. So from the very first qualification race that we held online, I really practiced and I won the race properly. So I was the first guy qualified. And then the event itself, I mean, it was quite different from normal sim racing LAN events. Usually there's like 20 people in normal rigs, so there's like still lots of drivers like in a normal online race. But there we had 5 people, and so not so much. But then again, we were in complete like on stage, like properly on stage, and we had this proper motion simulators. So basically, it was already exciting to drive alone. And so I remember, I think the setups were fixed, so that was one thing off. But I practiced properly, but what we experienced on site, that was quite crazy. I actually, to prepare for this interview, I rewatched the whole broadcast of the event, and I remember everything. The way you were moving around, and this Porsche Cup car was really hard to drive as well. You had to modulate it a lot, so it was it remains in my brain as if I had been racing a real car, because there was also we were using direct drive wheels, which I don't have at home, so that was a big sensation, and all this motion, and it was the motion platform was on a really good level, and all the excitement, and it was actually very, very closely fought. I wasn't like the fastest out of the box. In my qualifying was not too good, but I think I got good starts in the first race, and then I had pretty okay racecraft without mistakes. So it was quite touch and go, but in the end, it was an amazing experience. And the prize, I mean, the Helsingfeld pedals we got, I still use, so that's amazing. And I mean, the cash prize we got, you could say it fuels my groceries to this day. So that was an amazing event. I mean, it really set the tone for the year. So that was amazing. And all the events preceding it, they're on the same stage. There were lots of sim racing related presentations, and there were so many sim racing related important people there. So that it's a very big event. It was almost a year ago now, but I remember it very vividly. So it was amazing.
Now, the event last year was held at the beautiful MECC Arena in Maastricht, bringing the world of virtual motorsport and automotive together in a wonderful arena. What was it like to race in that kind of environment, and did you like the facilities on show?
Oh yeah, now you remind me as well. Yeah, there was a big car show where you could touch cars. But I mean, this arena feeling, this like a big competition scene, even if it was just 5 drivers. But it's special. It's quite different than being here at home. Although here as well, you know that you are being streamed and watched. And now this year we have been starting live streaming our faces as well. So basically we're out in the open all the time, but still on stage like that. Yeah, it was special. I mean, the auditorium was not completely packed, but still the feeling of pressure and being in the spotlight, and the live stream was very high quality as well, with lots of viewers. So it was a big event. So everything combined definitely also makes it bigger. But even standalone, the competition in the motion rigs was amazing.
It's always a pleasure to win big esport events. What makes it different racing in an organised, high-pressure, high-scale environment like the Sim Formula Europe competition?
I've been thinking this thought a lot. I mean, in real world racing, most of course you depend on your results, but most of the real racing drivers, I mean Formula One drivers, they have a salary. So if there's if you crash once, you get forgiven and forgotten maybe. But we basically, well, those of us who have decided to make it full time, if you crash out or don't perform, you basically lose your living immediately from not getting the prize. So that side of the pressure is definitely bigger than real life. Also, this sometimes manifests itself in the racing standards, where people really take risks if they're out of the price range, which you wouldn't never see in real life. But yeah, it's I've had some real racing in karting, but not too much, so I can't compare it directly. But I think it's basically the same as real life. I mean, the way you are, I mean, you don't want to break your car, so you are fighting for the car on track, and you are fighting the other drivers on track. You take into account your opponent mentalities, and yeah, you are completely in it. So yeah, especially for prizes, when you know, of course, you race for the prize, but then again, the competition level that the prizes bring, when you have 20 people, okay, maybe not full time into it, but they are reducing their real life jobs to become professionals. The level this brings, when you know that everybody's prepared, everybody's taking it seriously, everybody's tense. When you pressure somebody, you can see them making mistakes. So yeah, it's the competition level. Yeah, I think it rivals any real racing event.
Now, great stuff. We've seen you racing in different events over the years. Can you give our viewers at home an idea of the level of preparation you have to undertake in order to be competitive in this kind of professional, organised esport racing environment?
There's two sides to this. Basically, of course, you need to have the track time, and you need to drive, and you need to, basically there's no replacement to driving. I mean, now in let's say Formula One or bigger sports, they are not testing physically so much. Of course, they have their own simulators. That's another topic, but they don't drive so much. But back then, when testing was unlimited, they had like separate testing drivers who were just out in the test tracks doing thousands and thousands of laps just to test changes and to verify things. And that's basically what you have to do here. You from some point you have to test and get the experience. I mean, the reason I'm capable of being on pace in R Factor 2 is not so much like some weird talent or whatever special skills, or not even the reason that I'm doing this full time. I mean, I could perform almost the same if I had a normal job, but it's just the accumulated experience on this platform. I have driven every scenario. I have felt every mode and physics, and I understand how everything works. So yeah, one side is that you have to practice a lot, but on the other hand, then again, you have to practice smart, because there are people who, for example, in the GT series who maybe do thousands of laps when there is like 2 weeks between the races. When the one race is over, they start all over again. But that's not the way to do it either. You have to feel where your attention focus is. You train for 45 minutes in a row. If you feel you are no longer trying, then you have to stop. So, and then basically right now, how I approach sim racing, I might have 24 hours a day free, but in reality I spend the time driving like 2 or 3 hours maximum. My rhythm and the rhythm of maybe the top drivers is so that like 2 or 3 hours per day you drive, but like half of the effort goes into all the preparation work and being in the community and actually finding out what to drive and how to drive, and yeah, so the driving is important, but also to practice smart is equally important. And I think that's where we, in the top level where we are now, that's where we have the most potential to move forward, because there's so many holes still in our concentration and so many mistakes we do. And I mean, we don't have a personal trainer or anything who tells us what to do or how to schedule our days. So we have so much potential to actually practice and drive even smarter. So yeah, the baseline is just the amount of practice and experience, but also your mental strength and your skills to practice smart. That's what separates you.
Fantastic stuff. And of course, R Factor 2 is the software of choice for Sim Formula Europe 2021. Can you tell us a little bit about why you like R Factor and what makes it so different and unique compared to other simulators out there in the industry?
Yeah, well, in the end, it's all about the physics engine itself. I mean, it's no secret that R Factor 2 engine is probably the most capable, and it simulates the tire model and the track the most. R Factor 2, also what other real drivers say, that the way the force feedback is given, it's like you can't turn off details of the force feedback like you can on other cars. It's all very direct. It comes from the tires. And I think the potential of R Factor 2 is the biggest. I mean, there is so much to develop on the engine, the content-wise. I would say R Factor 2 Studio is maybe one of the smallest, and since the simulator is so hard to approach, then the amount of players is small and the amount of revenue is smaller. So they are not. I think they have not even started at the exponential curve. So yeah, I feel like. Well, for me personally, I'm not that good, I think, to drive several simulators at once. So I have chosen R Factor 2 because I think it has the most potential for the future to develop, and for this physics engine that I have now wired into my brain to develop, and for the content to develop. And if more competitions like Sim Formula come up on it, which is happening thanks to the good job of the studio organizers, then yeah, basically that's why I have chosen it. It's not that far superior at its current state compared to its competitors, actually. But yeah, I see the potential and the competitions that are chosen for it. I mean, the real Le Mans 24 Hours guys, they chose R Factor 2. They could have chosen iRacing, they could have chosen Assetto Corsa, but they choose R Factor 2 because of the fundamental physics, and maybe the net code also is one of the tightest, which provides really good racing. So yeah, if I weigh it all in, then I believe in R Factor 2. Maybe it's a religion question, but I think it's the future.
Now, of course, this year in 2021, we'll be racing from home rather than on site due to the world health pandemic. Does this alter your preparation? Does it change anything for you as a driver, racing from the comfort of your own home rather than on the stage at the arena as per the 2020 running of the event?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, there is two ways this competition could be done. Of course, I don't know any of the details yet, but if the details of the race, like the combination of cars and tracks you race, is not given out too early. I mean, if you don't have a month to prepare for it, and you have only a few days, and the conditions are changing as well, like the weather or something, then it actually can be quite close to what you expect or what you get in the stage. But of course, discounting motion platforms and everything, because I think the pressure is still the same. But if the combinations of car and track is known far in advance, and you can practice for weeks, then the flow of the event is different. You are able to practice all the scenarios, and you are completely in tune with your own hardware, so you make much less mistakes than you would on the stage. And you can before the event, you can have a nice sleep in your own bed, and you can have dinner, and you have, after the race, you can still go to your appointments, so you don't have to. The mentality is maybe a bit different. For me personally, I know people who get very full of adrenaline in sim racing from their home, but maybe my weakness is that I don't get enough of it. When I practice, I'm not too excited, and that leads to improper practice. But if I'm going to a real land event, then it's kind of different. So yeah, there may be some drivers who are stronger from home, and some who are stronger from the stage. And also, you don't know what equipment goes on stage. You might get lucky and get exact same equipment on stage as you have at home, like a direct drive wheel. So also it might play into somebody's hands, but in that way, from each other's homes, it's more equal. So yeah, there's different factors. In the end, I think the result is similar, but yeah, it might might play into different people's hands, but in the end, the show and the pressure, and if the price is the same, if the preparation is the same, if the system to qualify is the same, if the sponsors are the same, if there's the same amount of viewers and people engaged, then in the end, the pressure on track, the way we race, it's probably the same as well.
Fantastic stuff. And now one final question. For anybody watching this interview at home that's maybe an aspiring sim racing or esport driver, or is looking to get into the world of sim racing and esport for themselves, do you have any advice or any tips that you can give them to help them progress into a professional driver contract?
Well, basically, I have no game or simulator specific tips, but I mean, you have to approach it like any other professional athlete sport. Like if you watch documentaries of, I don't know, not only racing drivers, but I don't know, tennis players or other athletes, the way you need to make sacrifices and the way you develop as a person while you are constantly practicing, and the way, I mean, if you stop developing, you are basically going backwards in a competitional environment. So sim racing is exactly the same. You can't you can't take it like a game. You have to focus on it. You have to educate yourself daily. You have to find role models. For example, I watch lots of the Formula One Beyond the Grid podcasts, and I find basically every story from real motorsport and inspiration, and I find parallels to what we do from almost anybody. So yeah, well, of course, the main tip is to focus and not be afraid to give sacrifices, because if there's thousands of us out there, and if you don't make the sacrifice and you're as good as somebody else, then the one that makes the sacrifice will beat you on track, and it's as easy as that. So yeah, just approach it like you're a real athlete. It's not just gaming or sim racing. It's the real thing. You are competing for real, just in a virtual world. So yeah, I would say, yeah, put a lot of effort. Don't be afraid to make sacrifices, and find role models, and take it like a real sport.
Brilliant to talk to Risto Kappet ahead of Sim Formula Europe 2021. Hope you've enjoyed this interview. If you want more information about the competition, visit Sim Formula Europe to find out all the key dates and how you can get involved in the broadcast yourselves. I've been Paul Jeffrey interviewing the legend that is Risto Kappet. I hope you've enjoyed this show, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.